Hello everyone, and welcome to The Dragon's Lair. I'm DW, and today I want to introduce to you my Genshin Impact Challenge account, Arrows Only. In this account, I will exclusively be using bow-wielding characters to solve puzzles, explore the world of Teyvat, overcome challenges, and see how much of the story of Genshin Impact can be completed using only bow characters. As you can see, I have already been working a bit on this account off-screen, with only 2 bow-wielding characters so far. Amber, and Farazan. So let's talk a little bit about how this account got started and how it's going. This account was created on May 15, 2024. At that time, the rate-up banner characters were the Wanderer and Baizhu. Of course, Wanderer doesn't go anywhere without his trusty Anemo bow-wielding support character, Farazan. Actually, I was really lucky to be able to get Anemo on this account early on. Anemo is a great element to have, especially in the early game. Not only do a lot of puzzles require the use of Anemo early on, but Anemo is extremely helpful in swirling other elements to obtain more damage. Of course, you are given Amber at the start of the game, which is quite helpful as well, since there are a good deal of pyro puzzles in the early game too. I was able to run through the entirety of the Mondstadt Archon quest with, at times, only Amber, and eventually Farazan came to help me out. I was also lucky that the first boss fight against Dvalin gave us the trial character of Venti, who is also a bow user. See, this game loves me already. During the time I was starting this account, there was also an event for Arataki Ito's Music Festival, where you could get a free Goro after completing some tasks. Unfortunately, I couldn't grind through the Liyue Archon quest and the Inazuma Archon quest fast enough to unlock the event and do the tasks. It would have been really nice to have Goro on this account, as Liyue requires you to have Geo for a lot of puzzles in the open world. Maybe soon, Goro. So, I bet you're wondering what the rules of this account are. Well, let's get right into them. Rule number 1. The only characters that can be used to solve puzzles, unlock achievements, fight enemies, progress through quests, or compete in the Spiral Abyss are bow characters. There are some exceptions to this rule, of course, as in the case when the game forces you to play the Traveler character for certain boss fights and events. If there is no way to switch to a bow character, and the Traveler must be used in order to progress the story, then we will use the Traveler for those instances. For this reason, and this alone, I will be leveling up the Traveler a little bit, just to make sure we can get through some of those instances. Rule number 2. While in co-op, other players are required to use bow characters as well. No exceptions. Rule number 3. If a certain puzzle locks us out of progressing because we do not have the necessary elements to light up torches or create the desired reaction, all attempts to get through the puzzle must be made before using a character with the necessary element. That means that if there is no other choice but to quote-unquote cheat and not use a bow character, then it will be allowed. But every attempt must be made to move forward with only bow characters. And finally, rule number 4. No money at all will be spent on this account for any reason whatsoever. This is supposed to be a challenge, and it would only make things easier if I spent money. Therefore, it wouldn't be much of a challenge, would it? Great! Now that we've got that squared away, let's check out some goals we have for this account. The purpose behind this account is to see just how much of Genshin Impact can be completed using only bow characters. Why am I doing this, you may ask? Well, I'm just gonna come out and say it. On my main account, I am, in fact, a child main. That's right, Mr. Worldwide, Ed Sheeran, Teyvat's #1 Playboy, Tartaglia child, Ajax. I must also confess that prior to playing Genshin Impact, I had horrible aim.
We'll see about that.
Apart from the fact that initially I played Genshin solely on my iPad with a controller, you can see how this would be difficult. I also just had massive skill issues. Well, I've definitely come a long way since those early days of maining child, and here I am, challenging myself to perfect my aim with the best sharpshooters in all of Teyvat. I do find bow characters to be interesting, and their ranged attacks certainly do help out in a pinch sometimes. But they do have their drawbacks too. Bow characters are not really designed for close quarter combat. They are ranged characters for a reason. And unless your ult is like Child's that deals an AoE attack, or if you can pick up a few enemies with Farzan's skill, it's likely you are limiting yourself to attacking one enemy at a time. This is where the challenge comes in. My first goal for this account is to be able to deal a lot of damage to enemies as quickly as possible, seeing as how I will more than likely usually have to be targeting one enemy at a time during battles. This means leveling up my characters as much as I can, getting them all suitable bows to use, hopefully some high damage dealing 4 stars and 5 stars, and getting better at retargeting enemies once another one is defeated. Ideally, I would love to challenge the Spiral Abyss and complete as many floors as possible with only bow characters. Again, this will mean I need to level up characters fast and get as many good weapons and artifacts for them as possible. Luckily, I already got a Favonius bow for Farazan, and it's only the start of the game. As for characters I would like to get on this account, I will start off with the ones who are most likely first. Both Sethos and Siegwyn are coming up soon. I'm especially excited for Sethos, as I am desperate for an Electro character at the moment. I'm also happy for Siegwyn, as she will be a Hydro character as well as a healer, and I really will need a healer once the world level goes up. Eventually, once I'm strong enough to challenge the Spiral Abyss, I can also get Kale, which is great for Dendro damage. Unless I'm able to get Tainari, maybe? Other characters I would love to have are Goro. I already mentioned wanting Goro from the event because he will be extremely useful in solving a lot of Liyue puzzles. Also, pulling a Diona would be amazing, as that would give me Cryo, which is also needed for a lot of puzzles in the early game. Not to mention, she would be a dedicated shielder and healer, which is something else that I desperately need. Characters that are not necessarily needed, but that I would also want are Child, of course, Fischl, Yelan, Linny, Ganyu. Honestly, pretty much any bow character I would welcome. That's pretty much all there is for this video. I really hope you enjoyed it, and tune in next time to see how my Sethos pulls turn out. Please consider giving a like and a subscribe, as well as ring the notification bell for more video uploads, as it really helps the account. Thank you for watching. May thy knife chip and shatter.